Palakaren, friends and foes, and welcome to this special feature video for the mod DCI Last Alliance. I am Ngugi, team leader, and on behalf of the team, we today shall have a look at the Palantiri and the Mirror of Galaldriel. We shall begin with the 7 stones, so let's have a quick summary of what they were and their history. The Palantiri are the 7 stones saved from Numenor. They were formed as globes of different sizes, but all were black as jet in color. Palantir means that which looks far away, and they had this virtue that those who looked therein might perceive in them things far off, whether in place or in time. For the most part they revealed only things near to another kindred stone, for the stones each called to each, but those who possessed great strength of will and of mind might learn to direct their gaze whither they would. The stones were created by the Noldor in Valinor, perhaps even by Fëanor himself long ago. They were gifts of the Eldar to Amandil, the father of Elendil, for the comfort of the faithful of Numenor in their dark days, when the elves were forbidden to visit the island. When Numenor sank in 3318, the most important heirlooms saved were the Palantiri and the White Tree. The 7 stars on both Arnor's and Gondor's heraldry represents these 7 stones, and they were divided between the kingdoms. Those that were given to Elendil's sons were placed at Minas Ithil and Minas Anor, and at Orthanc and in Osgiliath. Elendil set his 3 stones in the towers upon Emin Beraid and upon Amonsul and in the city of Anuminas. The one in the white towers at Emin Beraid, shall be said, was unlike the others and not in accord with them. It looked only to the sea across to the Elbenland. Elendil would at times visit it to gaze out over the sundering seas, where Numenor once was, when the yearning of exile was upon him.
I have seen more than thou knowest, grey fool. Thy hope is but ignorance. Even with the forces of Theoden there is no hope. Oh, go forth and fight! Vanity! For a little space you may triumph on the field. For a day. But against the dark power that now rises, there is no victory. To this dying city, only the first fingers of its hand have yet been stretched. All the east is moving.
Before we go on with anything, we direct our gratitude to the great script master who is Withwnar. Withwnar created the Palantir feature and the mirror feature for 3rd Age, and he has gone strides to develop it further for DCI Last Alliance. This, however, do mean that you should not operate this game using only knowledge from neither 3rd Age or his later Palantiri revision submod. Instead, you should read the manual in order to get full use of the Palantiri and the mirror in DCI Last Alliance. Likewise, as has been said since the start, the features here are not intended to replace spies or, of course, neither watchtowers that you can only build in your own land, but especially spies. This feature are not possible to control to that regard, and you will still have good use of your agents. Now, the Palantiri are found in, of course, 7 places. We have in the capital of the Anor region, in Anuminas, 1 stone. On the hill of Amon Sul, we have the 2nd. In the Black Orthanc Tower in Angrenost, or Isengard as it is known as in the common tongue, we have a stone. Then far south in Minas Anor we have 1 in Osgiliath, and recently captured when this game start, in Minas Ithil in the hands of Mordor we have the Ithil stone. Now there is the 7th stone in the region of Emin Beraid. This region starts in control of the kingdom of Lindon. However, the stone there do not, as we were informed about in the summary, do not look across Middle Earth, but it is solely looking west across the sea. This do mean that generals who spend their time in the settlement of Emin Beraid will gain a special trait instead of being able to spy around the map. The special trait is already held by High King Elendil, because the towers were built for his sake, and he visited them on many occasions in history. This trait is named Valinor Beheld. It gives a summary of the background, and it grants the player, or rather general who has it, +1 tradition and +1 line of sight. Now, if we are having a look at the buildings, we have then the Anuminas stone in this case. Simply the name differs depending on the location, and we get a short description of what is a Palantir, and then it says, for usage instructions see the Palantiri information scroll, and here it gets meaty. So let's do that by pressing Ctrl P, and here we get up a long scroll of information, and I shall go through it with you. We first get the short summary that we have 2 kinds of viewings. We have the remote viewing, which is the kind you all are thinking of, and that is that you can look around the foggy fog of war, the unseen areas of the land. And then we also have the ally viewing, which allows you to see close to the area around a stone that is currently held by your allies. We will look at each of these 2 in time. Now, in order to use a stone, a general must first has something that is called will. By will, we mean a special trait. It comes in 3 levels. You can have strong, exceptional, or supreme will. Not every general has this will. You are either born with it or you ain't. You can not gain will during a campaign. So for example, if we are having a look here down in Gondor, in East Osgiliath we have a general named Nemir. Among Nemir's traits we find nothing that refers to will. So Nemir cannot use a Palantir because he has not the will to control a Palantir. Over in Ettring we have a general named Hamdir. Hamdir has the strong will trait. The strong will gives him a generic resistance to bribing, but the main importance is that since Hamdir has a strong will, he can use a Palantir. However, his will is not as strong as it could be. If we are looking at Meneldil, who is the son of King Anarion, Meneldil has the trait Exceptional Will, beside giving him a greater ability to resist bribes. This will also make him able to use a Palantir with more potency. And lastly, we have those generals who are gifted with Supreme Will. And these 3 levels of will allows a general to make use of a Palantir. And the more you use a Palantir, the better the general who are using it becomes. He gains skills in using the Palantir. So let us have an example of how it looks with the Palantir remote viewing. And first we select a settlement with the Palantir, of course, and then we make sure that the governor in the settlement has the proper traits and 1 level of will, whether it be strong, exceptional or supreme. And then we press the key that is P as in Palantir. And what now occurs is that we get this red Palantir icon, and we here, as we can see on the radar map, get 2 options. We get 1 down here in Gondor, and we have 1 here in Kalenardon. And this icon is showing us where about we will start to view using this starting this process. As noted, the Palantir are moving randomly, but you can have a choice of in what region will you start it at least. So in this case, I don't know what is going on here in Kalenardon, so I press this red icon and start the feature. And what you see is this the center of this viewing. This is what you are highlighting and can see clearly. And as you note, there are none of these false armies as were present in the Third Age feature. Instead, everything you see using a Palantir is really there, and Sauron isn't messing with your mind. And also, since there are no such messing around, you will not get traits that are your mind is not getting corrupted by using a Palantir. Instead, you can use it without getting any such penalties turn after turn. And it should also be noted that you can exactly that, use it every turn. There is no 5 turns cooldown period. The remote viewing, however, can only be used once by a general, and as you can see here, the units can move, but since Aratan here has used a Palantir, he has drained his movement point, so for this turn Aratan cannot leave Angrenost, but that is the cost of using a Palantir. Now we have only seen, if we are looking here with Elendil, for example, we have only seen that you get 2 options quite close to you, and that you could see in this Palantir a quite small area in the middle of your viewing. But let's have a look at what happens when your general used the Palantir a lot and gained some skill. So let's jump forward in time. And now I simply push through some turns, and we have let Elendil use the Palantir every turn, and already he has gained the trait Palantiri Skilled, which will allow him to see further, wider and longer across the map. When I select a settlement and press P, we have now not only 2, we have 4 different locations where Elendil can view. When the campaign started, he could only view this place and this place. Now he can see further, he can see all the way up to the Grey Mountains and all the way down to Kalenardon himself. And so we have pushed through a couple of more turns in order to see Elendil with his supreme will gaining the Palantiri Adept trait. And as we can see now, if we press P, we can see all the way into the plains of Rovanion in the east, and we can see into Gondor, and we can see north of Mordor. And it should again be noted that the Adept General with Supreme will have greater benefits than an Adept General with Strong Will, for example. So guys with Supreme Will, as usual, grant you better effect. But of course, any general who can use this feature can give you some interesting and useful information at range. The Adept is also, of course, the medium level of mastery, and when you get the high level of mastery, well, as you can figure out, you will have the ability to view great parts of Middle-earth and use that to your benefit. However, we shall not move further with that, but instead we shall have a look at the second feature, the so-called ally viewing. So let's move on to that. And so we have gifted away Angrenost to our current allies, the Men of the Mountains. So now you see here that it is a Mountain Men Citadel. I move over to Anuminas again. I could do this with any settlement, of course, that has a Palantir and a general with at least Strong Will. And instead of simply pushing P, I here now use the combination of Shift P. And then we get to see settlements belonging to our allies that has a Palantir. And had there been more of these, it would have moved between them. But now it is simply this one. And I press ESC to quit this feature. This you can do with the normal viewing as well. Press ESC while using it and you terminate the viewing. And that is what I have to retell about the Palantirs. Oh yes, it should be noted that using this ally viewing, the ally viewing do not cost your general his movement points. As you see, I just used the ally viewing,
Your
and
orders, my lord.
Elendil still has his movement points. Also, you do not get any experience points, if you want to call it that. It will not make this trait increase using the ally viewing, but it is free, you can use it multiple times, and it do not deplete the energy, aka
Yes,
the
my
movement points of your general. With all that said, I think we shall move on and have a look at Lady Galadriel and the mirror.
This is the Mirror of Galaldriel. It shows things that were, and things that are, and things that yet may be. Do you wish to look?
I'd not mind a glimpse of what's going on at home. It seems a terrible long time I've been away.
Come then. You shall look and see what you may.
As for the lore of the mirror, it is a situation that is quite more easy to summarize. We have no lore. That aside, we are here viewing Lothlorien, and in Caras Galadon we have Artanis Galadriel, the Lady of the Land in the Third Age, but at this point the faction leaders are of course Amdir and his son Amroth. But looking at Galadriel in her own line of traits, we do not see anything that refers to her mirror. Instead we are clicking the Shift F1 per usual, the faction information scroll. Here we are informed about the Mirror of Galaldriel, and for information about that press Ctrl G as in Galadriel. And if we do that, Ctrl G, we get up this information scroll, and it is some immersive lore text, and we are informed that once per turn Galadriel may use her mirror to glimpse random images of Middle-earth. It is thus not dependent on her being in Caras Galadon, neither is there a building named Mirror of Galadriel. It is our expectation that she could perform this feat of magic wherever she went, so it is not tied to Caras Galadon, and since she can move around when you play as Lothlorien, where she ends up is your choice. It does not prevent you from using the mirror. And now I pressed Shift G, and we are now viewing places in Middle-earth that her mirror displays. These places are random, and it is a smarter mirror script than ever before. This mirror script has, as might be fun to know, over 770 points across the map that you might see. They are shown in an as intelligent way as possible, with better odds than in any previous incarnation to show you something useful, yet as noted random. And welcome into a campaign that has gone on for some time. We are at turn 305, and the realm of Lothlorien has expanded some, resulting in Galadriel ending up in Andrast in the western part of Gondor. But despite her being far from home, such speaking, she can still use her mirror ability, so I press Shift G. And as seen, we are once more able to view around in Middle-earth. Now, compared to the Palantir, there is no increasing in ability, nor can you choose where in Middle-earth you will look, at least to some Now we are looking twice here at Goblin Town because there is presumably a hidden army somewhere there. But the advantage, of course, is that Galadriel has to be in a specific spot to use it, but the ability moves along with her. So all these things presented, I thank you for your time, and we are wishing you a very good day.
This is the Mirror of Galaldriel. It shows things that were, and things that are, and things that yet may be. Do you wish to look?
I'd not mind a glimpse of what's going on at home. It seems a terrible long time I've been away.
Come then. You shall look and see what you may.
We've got to go home!